Welcome back to Sunday Night in America. TikTok is a popular social media platform with nearly 2 billion users worldwide, which includes 150 million Americans who use it on a regular basis. But is TikTok a tool of the Chinese government? Is TikTok a threat to our national security or your personal security? Most members of Congress seem to think so. There's a House passed sweeping legislation this week. Mike Turner is the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee. He would have access to more information on TikTok than just about anyone else I know, and he joins us now. Welcome to you, Mr. Chairman. Politically, I think it's not easy to disappoint 150 Americans. So Congress must have really believed the threat, the danger from TikTok is real. Tell us what you can about it.
Well, Trey, thank you for having me. You're absolutely right. Members of Congress have also had access to classified briefings. Both we did Congress-wide and members of the Energy and Commerce Committee had additional briefings. What we know here, and this is something that I think a great signal from Congress, China is not like everyone else, and we're going to have to stop treating them like they are. What you have now is President Xi stepping forward and making it clear that he sees himself as an adversary to the United States. When he stood next to Vladimir Putin with what was the open mic event, where he was caught saying, we, Vladimir Putin himself, are bringing about change that hasn't happened in 100 years. Well, that's the fight between democracy and authoritarianism that happened during World War I and World War II. And he truly sees himself as trying to remake the world. TikTok certainly is a tool that can be used in ways to advance propaganda, and it certainly has Congress's concern.
All right. I don't want to shock you, Chairman, but I actually don't use TikTok. For those who do use TikTok, the legislation passed by the House, what specifically would it do? Force a sale, ban it? What specifically do users need to be on the lookout for?
The intent of the legislation is to force the disinvestment of the Chinese ownership of TikTok, to cause them to sell TikTok. That certainly means that TikTok could continue to operate, but it would be, free of the Chinese ownership influence and, of course, the risk that everyone in Congress sees. As you know, this vote was overwhelming, and it was overwhelming really because that shift, people are understanding that, China as an adversary, the ransomware, the attacks, the hacking that they do into our economy, the military buildup they do, they see themselves as positioning themselves as a strong adversary to the United States, and TikTok certainly is a dangerous tool in the hands of an adversary.
You mentioned the vote was overwhelming, and it was. There was one pretty prominent person on the other side of the issue. Let's listen to him together, and then I'll ask you a question on the other side.
People on TikTok that love it. There are a lot of young kids on TikTok who will go crazy without it. There are a lot of users. There's a lot of good, and there's a lot of bad with TikTok. But the thing I don't like is that without TikTok, you can make Facebook bigger. And I consider Facebook to be an enemy of the people.
Chairman, concerns over TikTok existed among former President Trump's national security advisors, many of whom I know very well when he was in office. And yet he, I guess, opposed this bill. Any idea why? I mean, his national security team wanted to ban it, too. So why the change?
Well, I can't speak to the change itself, but I can say this, that there has been a significant change, I think, overall in the use of social media, specifically in the area not to just communicate with others, but as a source of news, as a source of information. People are becoming reliant upon apps and social media for really their information about what's going on in the world. And that's why the issue of the propaganda aspect of these social media sites and an app, and certainly being in the hands of a declared adversary, make them all that much more concerning.
All right. Before I let you go, it heads to the Senate now, which is where many good ideas go to die. What do you think is going to happen there?
Well, the president has said that he will sign this bill, which means it would become law. I think the Senate will probably have a very vigorous debate, but I expect this bill is going to come out of the Senate and head to the president's desk for signature.
Chairman Mike Turner from the great state of Ohio, chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, thank you so much for joining us. Look forward to seeing you soon.
Thank you, Trey.